Palestine humanitarian crisis poised to affect global relations. Tuition fees exempted for 1 year for Palestinian students. Salam Malaysia Berdani, I'm Brandon Lepol and you're watching Malaysia Tonight. Middle powers such as Malaysia can help reduce tensions between major powers such as the United States and China as they approach relations both pragmatically and judiciously. Speaking at a special lecture entitled Superpower Rivalry and Rising Tensions in the Asia-Pacific at the University of California, Berkeley, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim said he does not believe armed conflict between major powers is inevitable.
We will work with ASEAN to minimize risks, namely outright conflict or the bifurcation of the global economy into rigid blocks. Neither seems likely soon, but both have become plausible under today's mounting pressure.
Datuk Seri Anwar also said there remains space to pursue robust relations with both the US and China, particularly in spheres like climate change, the energy transition, education, and people-to-people ties that offer room for cooperation. Recognizing that contradictions will inevitably emerge, he said, Malaysia still sees value in engaging both Washington and Beijing. On another note, Datuk Seri Anwar said the humanitarian crisis in Palestine is poised to affect not just Palestine or the broader West Asia, but also leave an imprint on global relations for many years to come. According to the Prime Minister, Malaysia has consistently called for a ceasefire and a stop to the incessant bombing of Gaza.
As I had declared in the Malaysian Parliament, there are no two ways about it. We condemn terrorism in all its forms, and we categorically condemn the actions of killing innocent lives and taking women and children as hostages. Likewise, we unequivocally condemn the bombings of civilians, of homes, of hospitals, and the consequential atrocities against innocent lives. Children, women and men being carried out day and night in Gaza with impunity.
Datuk Seri Anwar said that Malaysia views this as a humanitarian crisis precipitated by a brutal and indiscriminate war. Ultimately, he said the humanitarian crisis in Palestine is not just about religious beliefs. Moreover, the number of victims, which has surpassed more than 11,000 in Gaza, comprise Muslims and Christians, as well as nationalities of various countries. In a related development, Datuk Seri Anwar said Malaysia is not tilting towards China. However, due to geographic factors, the country is closer, a reliable friend and an ally to Malaysia. Datuk Seri Anwar said China is Malaysia's neighbour, an important country, and has matured in terms of its economic vibrancy. And the country would benefit immensely through continued engagement.
We have not had any problems. Minor issues we discuss. And China remains a very reliable friend and ally. Cumulatively, United States still stands as number one in terms of total investments. But increasingly, China has become one of the main investors in Malaysia.
Regarding the role of Malaysia or ASEAN in the South China Sea, he said ASEAN has also discussed their stance. He said ideally, Malaysia should take a multilateral regional position in this engagement with China, and Malaysia has been rather successful in terms of negotiating with the Chinese. However, Datuk Seri Anwar believes that the problem is more troublesome and contentious with the Philippines and Vietnam. And also in the headlines, tuition fees for over 600 Palestinian students studying at various levels in public universities in the country will be waived for 1 year with immediate effect. As for remaining 200 students studying in private institutions, Higher Education Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin said discussions with set institutions are being conducted to encourage them to do the same.
Begitu juga kita sedang timbang untuk memberi mereka allowance bulanan selama 1 tahun kepada semua IPTA dan IPTS yang akan disumbang oleh pihak kerajaan. Dan kesemua ini akan melibatkan kos lebih kurang dalam 20 juta ringgit. Kita akan umum dari segi jumlah sebenar dalam sedikit masa lagi.
He said this after officiating the Global Higher Education Forum 2023 in Sepang today. Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid said such a decision was made because the Malaysian government was concerned with the challenges and well-being of Palestinian students in the country following the ongoing war in Gaza. In other news, the Transport Ministry is ready to revise the penalty imposed onto underage drivers. Minister Anthony Loke Siu Fook, however, said before this can be done, the government will first work towards obtaining relevant feedback from the public, as well as non-government organisations, NGOs.
Well, I mean, it is the existing law. I mean, whatever fines that allowed under the current law, that is the maximum that we can fine. But of course, in terms of law, we will review from time to time.
He was elaborating on the existing penalty stipulated under Section 26, Subsection 1 of the Road Transport Act, which has been said to have been too lenient. The lowest fine for driving without a licence under the Road Transport Act 1987 is set at 300 ringgit. Which goes up to a maximum 2,000 ringgit. Last Sunday, it was reported that a 16-year-old boy has driven his mother's car and caused an accident, which claimed 2 lives at kilometre 1.9 of the Pulau Pinang Bridge, headed towards Perai. The teenager sustained minor injuries from the accident. Meanwhile, regarding the power disruption that affected MRT services of the Putrajaya line yesterday, Loke expressed his regrets over the matter and said it was not supposed to have happened and the service was only recently opened in March.
Kita memang berasa amat duka cita kerana Putrajaya Line ini baru dibuka, tak sampai pun setahun. Jadi gangguan-gangguan ini, gangguan ataupun masalah teknikal ini mesti diberikan perhatian serius oleh pihak MRT Corp dan juga pihak prasarana. Dan laporan penuh telah pun diminta oleh pihak kita kepada pihak prasarana untuk kemukakan kepada pihak kementerian dalam mesyuarat postcard nanti.
Yesterday, the MRT Putrajaya line experienced a power supply disruption between Conley and Chan Sao Lin stations around 5:50 p.m., which resulted in the immobilization of 2 trains in the affected area. The trains have returned to normal operations later that night. Loke added that since the Putrajaya line is still within the defect liability period, the incident will be referred back to the contractor, MMC Gamuda, to determine the root cause of the power supply disruption. The Health Ministry, MOH, is preparing its response to the recommendations by the Public Accounts Committee, PAC, on the COVID-19 outbreak management report, including on the ventilator issue. Minister Dr. Zaliha Mustafa said that it would be submitted to the PAC next month.
Pesan daripada PAC ini sebenarnya kita telah memberikan semua kerjasama lah kepada PAC dalam mereka meminta kepada kita maklumat tentang perkara yang berkaitan dengan concern PAC itu telah kita beri sepenuh kerjasama. Jadi selebihnya kalau misalnya ada lagi yang diperlukan oleh PAC, kami bersedialah untuk memberi segala maklumat yang diperlukan.
Dr. Zaliha was met after opening the ministry's Integrity Day and Corruption-Free Pledge in Putrajaya today. Yesterday, PAC Chairman Dato' Mas Ermiati Samsudin said PAC had sent a letter to MOH to respond to its recommendations of the COVID-19 Outbreak Management Report, expired vaccines, faulty ventilators and surplus personal protective equipment PPE that was published last month. Regarding sending the Malaysian medical team to Gaza, Dr. Zaliha said the ministry's officers who are keen to join the team can submit their applications online. Last Monday, the ministry in a statement stated that it is ready and has identified the medical aid team that can be deployed to the Gaza Strip, Palestine, once approval is given. And coming up next, Q3 national GDP growth expected to improve. Stay with us. The gross domestic product GDP growth for the third quarter of 2023 is expected to be higher than 2.9% recorded in the second quarter. Economy Minister Ramli said he is optimistic that the nation will record a better growth rate quarter to quarter, despite the currently challenging state of the global economy.
So I'm optimistic that it will be better than quarter two, and what is more important, with the third consecutive quarter-on-quarter growth, it means that we are showing a better momentum, especially when in 2024, moving towards 2025, the global economic condition is expected to be better.
The Department of Statistics Malaysia, together with Bank Negara Malaysia, is expected to announce the economic performance of the country for the third quarter of 2023 this Friday. Previously, Rafizi said Malaysia is on track on a high-income nation by 2026 if economic growth remains at around 4 to 5% and the value of the ringgit improves. Earlier, Rafizi launched the One Ringgit Thirst Quenching Campaign, a collaboration between the ministry and Atlas Vending Sendiran Berhad, the vending machine arm of Etika Sendiran Berhad. Under the collaboration, which is part of the government's People's Income Initiative, IPR, Atlas Vending has introduced its first One Ringgit drink vending machine. Rafizi said the government's goal is to provide affordable options to all Malaysians, ensuring that everyone can enjoy a moment of respite without stretching their wallets. Meanwhile, Etika Group's Chief Executive Officer Santa Ruben Turai Sundaram said leveraging the group's status as the large food and beverages vending operator across Malaysia and Singapore, the impact of the IPR One Ringgit initiative could be felt through the 3,210 machines stationed nationwide. Any future development to be implemented in the federal capital will depend on the outcome of a Traffic Impact Assessment, or TIA, being carried out in an effort to address traffic congestion due to population growth. Deputy Minister in the Prime Minister's Department, Legal and Institutional Reforms, Ramkapal Singh said the TIA being carried out covers various aspects, including the current operating conditions of roads or current level of service and future traffic projections.
Hasil daripada unjuran trafik masa hadapan, penambahbaikan infrastruktur akan disyorkan. Selain itu, DBKL mengadakan perancangan lalu lintas yang lebih menyeluruh dan bersepadu sebagai inisiatif penyelesaian jangka masa panjang bagi menangani masalah kesesakan. DBKL juga memberi tumpuan kepada pembangunan pengangkutan awam yang mesra pengguna, efisien dan mudah akses bagi mencapai sasaran 70% penggunaan pengangkutan awam menjelang tahun 2040.
He was responding to a question in Parliament regarding the ministry's efforts to face the challenges of continuous development in Kuala Lumpur with an increasing population growth rate. According to Ramkapal, various efforts have also been carried out, such as introducing the Go KL bus services, special bus routes, bicycle routes, pedestrian routes and access to route information and current bus services through digital applications. A total of 26,286 completed residential units valued at 18.3 billion ringgit were unsold in the second quarter of this year. Deputy Local Government Development Minister Akmal Nasrullah Mohamad Nasir said this was based on preliminary data released by the National Property Information Centre. He said that the number showed a drop of 5.3% in terms of the number of units and a 0.6% decrease in terms of value compared to the same period last year.
Bagi memastikan isu lambakan rumah tidak terjual dapat dikawal, kerajaan telah atau sedang melaksanakan beberapa tindakan seperti berikut. Pertama, melaksanakan pemetaan indeks rumah mampu milik berdasarkan pendapatan median mengikut negeri dan daerah yang diperolehi daripada tinjauan laporan survey pendapatan isi rumah dan kemudahan asas 2022. Pemetaan ini sebagai panduan kepada pemaju serta agensi penyedia perumahan bagi menetapkan harga jualan rumah di satu-satu lokaliti.
In addition, Akmal Nasrullah said the ministry encouraged developers to conduct a feasibility study to ensure that houses are built based on people's affordability and to prevent any unsold properties. According to him, the KPKT is in the midst of developing the Housing Big Data Analytics system as a centralized reference source for housing data. A total of 257 million ringgit has been allocated for 116 applications of research and development (R&D) in Science, Technology and Innovation (STI) projects. Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Chang Leh Kang said the applications were received from STI-related companies and public and private higher learning institutions, as well as public research institutes through the Integrated Fund System (SDB) digital platform.
Kita ada banyak produk yang dibawa pembiayaan mesti lah, dan ada yang sudah ready to market, ada yang very close to commercialization. So kita just is a convention dan untuk kita link up everyone together lah. I mean all the parties.
He said this after officiating the Research, Development, Commercialization and Innovation (R&D and C&I) convention in Putrajaya today. Presently, there are 5 types of fundings offered in the digital platform. Through this initiative, Chang hoped that the outcome of the R&D would not end just at the report writing or publishing of journals. Malaysia Airlines has announced the full resumption of its in-flight service offerings across all sectors following the catering transition that took effect on 1st September. This comprehensive reinstatement includes complete beverage offerings, full hot meals and reinstatement of special meals. Malaysia Aviation Group Managing Director Dato' Captain Izam Ismail said the airline is also introducing enhanced meal offerings and refreshed menus across sectors as it seeks to elevate the onboard dining experience.
As a global, Malaysia Airlines sets high standard for our product offering and services on board. Being the embassy on wings for the country and the champion of Malaysian prosperity, we fully understand the customer experience transcends isolated incident or single interaction. Rather, it is dynamic and ever-evolving journey and requires continuous improvement from our side.
He said this at the reinstatement of Malaysia Airlines' full in-flight service offerings announcement today. As part of its catering business continuity plan, the airline established a temporary distribution centre, the MAG Catering Operations, MCAT, to manage the assembly of food and beverage items and the uplifting of meals on board via high-lift trucks. The airline is now self-handling at an average of 18,000 meals daily, collaborating closely with its partners to maintain the highest standards of quality and service. And still ahead, UN Red Cross alarmed over raid at Gaza hospital. Stay with us. The United Nations and the Red Cross voiced alarm on Wednesday after Israeli forces raided Gaza's largest hospital, demanding that thousands of patients and civilians there be protected. Israeli forces raided Al-Shifa Hospital Wednesday morning, targeting what they say is a Hamas command center in tunnels beneath thousands of patients and civilians seeking refuge from intense combat. UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths said on X, formerly known as Twitter, that the protection of newborns, patients, medical staff and all civilians must override all other concerns, adding that hospitals are not battlegrounds. The International Committee of the Red Cross said in a statement that it was extremely concerned about the impact on sick and wounded people, medical staff and civilians. Israel vowed to crush Hamas after the Palestinian group launched unprecedented cross-border attacks that Israel said left 1,200 people dead, with another 239 taken hostage. The Hamas-run health ministry in Gaza said Israel's ensuing air and ground offensive have killed 11,320 people, mostly civilians, including thousands of children. Al-Shifa is a key target in Israel's campaign. The United Nations has said it estimates that at least 2,300 people, patients, staff and displaced civilians are inside and may be unable to escape because of fierce fighting. Meantime, the first truck to deliver fuel to the Gaza Strip began crossing from Egypt on Wednesday. According to a humanitarian source, the delivery was made possible by Israel giving its approval for 24,000 litres of diesel fuel to be allowed into Gaza for use by UN aid distribution trucks, but not for use at hospitals. Limited deliveries of humanitarian aid have been crossing from Egypt into Gaza since 21st October, but Israel had refused to allow in fuel, saying Hamas held plentiful stocks. The initial delivery of 24,000 litres of fuel was intended to be carried out over 2 days, with 12,000 litres allocated for each day. However, according to the source, the fuel is not enough for anything, not for hospitals, not even for aid deliveries. Witnesses said 2 other trucks were lined up on the Egyptian side of the Rafah crossing and waiting to drive into Gaza, but it was unclear when they might enter. And in sports, good start for Malaysian pairs in Japan Masters. Stay with us.
Dengan misi mesti menang, semangat perjuangan terus diledakkan dalam setiap pertembungan. 14 pasukan, satu sorakan. Liga Super 2023 bersama kami di RTM, rakan penyiar NFL Liga Malaysia 2023.
Welcome back. Women's double shuttlers Perlitan and Tina returned in style to clear the first round of the Japan Masters in Kumamoto on Tuesday. The duo, who last competed at the Asian Games in Hangzhou, China, had skipped all the tournaments in Europe last month to give time for Pearly to heal from her back problem. The world number 13 Pearly and Tina went the distance to beat Lee Yu Lim and Shin Seong Chan of South Korea 21-14, 2022, 21-18 to set up a meeting against Rui Hirokami and Yuna Kato of Japan next. Meanwhile, it was over for Vivian Hu and Lim Chiu Sien as they went down 17-21, 11-21 to Japan's Rina Miyaura and Ayuko Sakuramoto in the first round. In an all-Malaysian men's doubles opening match, seniors Ong Yu Sin and Teo Yi defeated Man Wei Chong and T Kai Wen 21-16, 21-7 to get off to a blistering start. They will play against Paranyu Khao Samang and Warapol Tong Sanga next after the Thais beat their Chinese opponents Chen Boyang and Liu Yi. In the men's singles, Leong Chun Hao failed to clear the qualifying tournament after losing to Takuma Obayashi of Japan 23-21, 21-16 in the second round. Earlier in the first round, he had beaten Takeru Kai of Australia. Novak Djokovic's winning streak was halted at 19 matches as home favourite Jannik Sinner was roared to a superb 7-5, 6-7, 7-6 victory by a partisan ATP Finals crowd in Turin on Tuesday. The earlier green group clash was a non-event as Stefanos Tsitsipas retired injured against Holger Rune, but the evening ticket holders were treated to a match of jaw-dropping quality. The smart money would have been on Djokovic to make a 20-match unbeaten streak for the 9th time in his career, but Sinner had other ideas as he chalked up one of the biggest wins of his career. After more than 3 hours of an absorbing toe-to-toe battle in which neither player took a backward step, it was world number 4 Sinner who seized his chance in the deciding set tiebreak finally to crack Djokovic's resistance. Sinner, 14 years Djokovic's junior, wrapped up his first career win against the 24-time Grand Slam champion with a smash prompting deafening roars from a sold-out crowd who produced an electrifying atmosphere throughout. He moves top of the group, but it's not yet guaranteed a semi-final spot ahead of his final round-robin match against Rune on Thursday. Stefanos Tsitsipas retired after just 3 games of his green group clash against Holger Rune at the ATP Finals on Tuesday, handing the Danish debutant his first victory in the event. Greek world number 6 Tsitsipas looked stiff and uncomfortable as he drilled 2-1, and after consulting with a doctor at the changeover, he decided that he could not continue. Tsitsipas, who lost in straight sets to Jannik Sinner in his opening match on Sunday, shuffled off the court to a few cheers from the large crowd inside the Pala Alpituo, and later confirmed it was a problem with his back. As a consolation for ticket holders, alternate Hubert Hurkacz and Taylor Fritz played out an exhibition match, although it would not count for the tournament. Had Tsitsipas withdrawn before the match, first reserve Hurkacz would have played Rune in a live match, with the Pole still having a chance to progress in the tournament. Tsitsipas previously claimed the biggest title of his career at the event in 2019. And in football, Lionel Messi has finished the 2023 season with Inter Miami, and now the 8-time Ballon d'Or winner is preparing for Argentina's upcoming games against Uruguay and Brazil for the 2026 World Cup qualifiers. The World Cup in the United States, Mexico and Canada would be Messi's 6th World Cup, which would be an all-time football record. If he manages to make it to 2026, he will make over 200 appearances for Argentina. After the 2 upcoming internationals with the Albiceleste, he will have played 180 international matches for his country. Argentina's national squad trained in Ezeiza on Tuesday ahead of their Thursday World Cup qualifier match against Uruguay. Among the players were Lionel Messi, whose teammate Paulo Dybala described as very happy when training with the team. The players are expecting Uruguay to be strong, according to midfielder Leandro Paredes. Second place Uruguay with 7 points will visit South American qualifying leaders Argentina with 12. And that's it from us this evening. In our top story, tuition fees exempted for 1 year for Palestinian students. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. I'm Brendan Lepal. Thanks for watching. Take care.